more than a religion, a way to wake up. A long time ago, in ancient India, there lived a rich young man named Siddhartha Gautama. He was a prince. He had everything: a beautiful palace, soft clothes, delicious food, and music every day. But one day, he left the palace and saw something he had never seen before. He saw an old man. He saw a sick man. He saw a dead body. These things made him think deeply. Why do people grow old? He asked. Why do they get sick? Why do they die? Why do we suffer? No one gave him a clear answer. So Siddhartha made a big decision. He left his wife, his child, and his royal life. He cut off his hair. He put on simple clothes. He walked into the forest. He wanted to find the truth. He wanted to understand why people suffer and how to stop it. He tried many hard things. He ate very little. He slept on the ground. He meditated for hours. But nothing worked. One day, he sat under a tree and made a promise. I will not move from this tree until I find the truth. He sat for many days. He faced fear. He faced pain. But he stayed still. Then, one night, everything changed. His mind became clear. He saw the truth. He understood life and suffering. He woke up not from sleep, but in his heart. He became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. He was not a god. He was not a magician. He was a man who found peace and wanted to help others find it too. This is not just a story about religion. It is a story about courage. A story about kindness. A story about one man who gave up everything to help others wake up. That one man started a path that millions now walk. A path not of fear, but of peace. In this video, we will follow the story of Buddhism from one tree in India to temples, mountains, and mines all over the world. Chapter 1: The Life of Siddhartha. A long time ago, in a kingdom in ancient India, there was a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. He lived in a grand palace. The walls were made of stone and gold. The gardens were full of flowers, music, and laughter. Servants brought him everything he wanted: soft clothes, sweet fruits, and warm food. He was handsome, strong, and kind. People thought he would be a great king one day. But even with all these gifts, Siddhartha felt something was missing. He often looked out from his palace windows and asked, "Is this all there is in life?" One day, he left the palace with his chariot driver. He saw something he had never seen before. First, he saw an old man. His back was bent, his hair white, and he walked very slowly. Siddhartha asked, "Why is he like that?" The driver said, "All people grow old." Later, he saw a sick man. His body was shaking. He was coughing and in pain. Siddhartha asked again, "Why is he like that?" The driver said, "All people get sick." Then he saw a dead body, covered in cloth. People around it were crying. "Why do people die?" Siddhartha asked. The driver said, "This happens to everyone." Siddhartha was shocked. He had never seen these things before. He could not stop thinking, why do people suffer? Why is there pain, sickness, and death? After that, he saw something different: a holy man sitting by the road, calm and peaceful, with nothing but a bowl and a smile. This man had no gold, no house, and no family. But he looked happy. Siddhartha thought, maybe this man knows something I do not. That night, while everyone slept, Siddhartha made a brave choice. He left the palace. He took off his jewelry. He cut his hair. He kissed his sleeping wife and baby goodbye. He walked away from comfort into the forest, alone, in silence. He searched for answers. He met many teachers. He tried different ways to end suffering. He ate very little. He slept on the ground. He sat still for hours and hours, breathing slowly, thinking deeply. But nothing worked. He was still confused. Still searching. Then, he came to a big tree, the Bodhi tree, and said, "I will sit here until I find the truth." He sat for many days. He saw his fears. He remembered his past. He opened his heart. And then, one morning, as the sun rose, he understood. He saw life clearly. He became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. Siddhartha was no longer just a prince. He was a teacher of peace, of wisdom, and of truth. He had found his path, and now, he would help others find theirs. Chapter 2: The Great Awakening. Siddhartha had walked far. He had given up everything, his palace, his riches, his family. For years, he lived in forests and caves. He spoke with holy men. He followed hard paths. Some days he ate only one grain of rice. Some nights he slept on cold stone floors. But still, the answers did not come. He wanted to know, why do people suffer? Why do we feel pain, grow old, and die? Is there a way to stop this? Then, one day, Siddhartha came to a quiet place. A large tree stood there. Its branches stretched wide like arms. Its leaves danced in the wind. It was calm. Still. Sacred. He sat under this tree, the Bodhi tree, and made a promise to himself. I will not move until I find the truth. The days passed. The sun rose and fell. The wind blew through the leaves. Wild animals passed. Darkness came and went. Siddhartha sat still, his eyes closed, his breath slow, his heart open. He faced fear. He remembered his life. He let go of anger, of desire, of worry. On the 49th night, something changed. A deep peace filled him. His eyes opened. His mind became clear. He saw the truth, simple, strong, and full of love. He understood life, death, and rebirth. He saw that pain comes from wanting, from holding, from fear. And he saw a path to end that pain. He was no longer Siddhartha, the prince. He had become the Buddha, which means the awakened one. He did not become a god. He did not have magic. But his mind had woken up. He was free not from life, but from suffering. And he wanted to help others be free, too. He stood up slowly. The world looked the same, the tree, the stars, the sky. But everything had changed. He smiled. He was calm. He was ready. He would not keep this truth for himself. He would teach it to the world. And that moment, under the tree, began a journey that would reach every corner of the earth: temples in Thailand, statues in Japan, monks in Tibet, peaceful gardens, quiet chants, warm candles. It all started here, with one man, one tree, and one truth. Chapter 3: The First Teachings. After Siddhartha became the Buddha, he felt deep peace. But peace was not enough. He knew he must share what he had learned. His heart was full of kindness. He wanted to help others. So he stood up from under the Bodhi tree and began to walk. He walked for many days. Finally, he came to a quiet park in Sarnath, near a city called Varanasi in India. There, in the soft grass under the open sky, 5 men sat. They were monks, and long ago, they had known Siddhartha. At first, they did not want to listen to him. But when they saw his calm eyes, his peaceful smile, and his gentle voice, they knew something was different. Something had awakened in him. So they sat down. They listened. And there, in that quiet place, the Buddha spoke his first words as a teacher. He talked about life, about pain, about hope. He shared 4 noble truths. 1. Life has suffering, everyone feels pain. People grow old, get sick, and die. They feel sad, lonely, angry, or afraid. This is part of life. 2. Suffering has a cause, pain comes from wanting things we don't have. We want to be rich. We want to stay young. We want people to love us forever. But these things don't last, and that hurts. 3. Suffering can end, there is a way to stop the pain. We can find peace. We can feel free inside. 4. There is a path, the Buddha called it the Eightfold Path. It is a way to live with kindness, wisdom, and balance. The monks listened. Their hearts opened. This was not magic. This was not a God's voice. It was a human truth, simple and strong. And in that moment, the wheel of Dharma began to turn. It means, the teachings had started. The journey had begun. This was the Buddha's first sermon, not in a big temple, not with gold or power, but in a quiet park, sitting on grass, under the trees, with just 5 people. But from those 5 monks, the truth would grow. It would reach millions, across thousands of years. It would cross seas, mountains, and borders. It would become temples in Thailand, chants in Tibet, art in China, peace in Japan, and hope in the hearts of people all over the world. Chapter 4, The Sangha Rises. After his first teaching at Sarnath, the Buddha did not stop. He walked. He taught. He smiled with peace. His words were clear, like fresh water. People began to follow him, not because they were forced, but because they felt something true in their hearts. These followers were not just holy men. They were kings in gold robes, and farmers with dirty hands. They were mothers, nuns, young boys, and even robbers who changed their ways. Some had everything. Some had nothing. But all came to listen. The Buddha gave them no weapons. No power. Only a robe and a bowl. That was enough. This simple group was called the Sangha, the community of people who chose the path of peace. They had no walls, no temples, and no flags. Their home was the road. Their prayer was silence. Their rule was kindness. They walked from village to village with bare feet. They asked for food with open hands. And they gave something greater in return, peace of mind. No one owned the Sangha. It belonged to the world. Anyone, from any class, could join. This was a radical idea in a time when rich and poor were never equal. But in the Sangha, all were equal. One day, a powerful king named Bimbisara bowed before the Buddha. He offered a bamboo forest for the monks to stay. It became the first monastery, but it had no gold. Just trees, birds, and open space. The Buddha smiled. His teachings were growing. Not like a fire that burns, but like a tree that gives shade. The Sangha was more than a group. It was a living example of the Buddha's dream, a world without hate, without greed, without fear. A world where people wake up. And this community kept growing. It reached across India, then to Sri Lanka, Thailand, China, Tibet, Korea, Japan, and beyond. Even today, thousands of years later, you can see monks in orange robes walking slowly on the streets, holding nothing but a bowl and peace in their hearts. Chapter 5, Ashoka the Great. A long time after the Buddha died, there was a king. His name was Ashoka. At first, he was not peaceful. He was powerful, strong, and full of pride. He had many soldiers. He wanted to be the greatest king in India. And he was ready to fight for it. One day, he went to war with a land called Kalinga. It was a big, bloody battle. Thousands of people died. The rivers turned red. The ground was full of broken swords and silent bodies. When the war ended, Ashoka walked across the field. He saw the pain. He saw the families crying. He saw children without parents. Something broke in his heart. He asked himself, "What kind of king am I? I have won the war, but I have lost my soul." That day changed him forever. Ashoka took off his armor. He stopped killing. He stopped fighting. He turned to Buddhism, the path of peace. He learned the Buddhist teachings: no harm, no hate, no greed. Ashoka made a promise: "I will rule not with fear, but with love." He began a new kind of war, a war for kindness. But this time, there were no weapons. His army was made of ideas. His soldiers were words. He sent messengers, not armies. And everywhere they went, they carried a simple message: be good. Do no harm. Help others. Ashoka built roads, wells, hospitals, and rest houses for travelers. He planted trees for shade. He helped animals. He gave women more respect. He invited monks and teachers from many lands. He wanted everyone to feel peace in body and in heart. But his greatest work was something special: stone pillars. Across all of India, he built tall stone columns. On each one, he carved the teachings of the Buddha in simple words for everyone to read. Even today, thousands of years later, those stones still stand. They speak without sound. They teach without books. Ashoka showed the world, even a king can change. Even power can become peace. Chapter 6: The Spread to the East. After the Buddha passed away, his words did not stay in one place. They were like seeds carried by the wind. These seeds of wisdom started in India, but they didn't stop there. Step by step, they traveled across mountains, forests, rivers, and seas all the way to the east. The first stop was Sri Lanka, a beautiful island in the south. A king there heard the message of peace and wanted it for his people. So monks came by ship, bringing the sacred teachings and a special gift: a small branch from the original Bodhi tree, where the Buddha had awakened. That little branch was planted, and it still grows today. It became a symbol of hope, and Sri Lanka became a center of Buddhist learning. But the journey didn't end there. Next, the teachings traveled far north to China. It was a long and difficult road, cold, high, and full of danger. This was the famous Silk Road, where traders and travelers met. But this time, it was not silk that was most precious. It was the Dharma. The teachings of truth. When Buddhism reached China, the people listened. They asked questions. They read the old texts and then, they made the teachings their own. They built great temples with high, curved roofs. They painted peaceful Buddhas on walls. They wrote poems about emptiness and stillness. Slowly, Buddhism became part of Chinese life, quiet, gentle, full of wisdom. Then came Korea, a land of rivers and green hills. The teachings crossed the sea once again. Korean monks loved meditation. They built quiet temples in the mountains, where they could sit and listen to the wind. Their hearts were strong, and they kept the teachings safe during hard times. And finally, the Dharma reached Japan. Here, it became something very special, full of beauty and order. Temples with red gates and stone gardens. Tea ceremonies with calm hands. Bells ringing in the morning mist. In Japan, Buddhism met art, and together they made peace into poetry. Each land took the Buddha's message and gave it a new voice. Not one voice, but many. Not one path, but many steps. The truth stayed the same, but like water in different cups, it changed shape. Chapter 7: Buddhism Meets Other Worlds. Buddhism began in India, simple, quiet, and full of compassion. But as it traveled, it changed. It didn't fight with other cultures. Instead, it listened. It learned. It grew. Like water taking the shape of each bowl, Buddhism met new worlds and became something new in each one. Far up in the cold, high mountains of Tibet, the Dharma arrived like a whisper in the wind. But Tibet was already full of old stories of mountain gods, sky spirits, and deep magic. Instead of pushing those stories away, Buddhism welcomed them. It became strong and powerful like the land itself. Monks wore red robes. They blew long horns in the snowy air. They built great monasteries like fortresses of peace. This was Tibetan Buddhism, colorful, bold, and full of devotion. In China, Buddhism met a wise old teacher named Confucius. He had taught about family, respect, and harmony. So when Buddhism came with talk of suffering and emptiness, the people listened carefully. They didn't throw away their old ways, they added the new ones. Together, Confucian thought and Buddhist peace helped people live better lives. Buddhism in China became deep like a river, flowing gently, with quiet power. Then, across the sea, in Japan, something special happened. Buddhism became Zen. Zen is simple, but not easy. It's about sitting still, watching your breath, letting go of words and thoughts. In Zen, silence is a teacher. One moment can change your life: the sound of a bell, the smell of tea, a leaf falling in the wind. Monks didn't just talk about wisdom, they lived it. They swept the floor with care. They poured tea with love. Even making a cup of tea became a kind of awakening. And so, Buddhism became many things. It wore red in Tibet. It studied deeply in China. It walked slowly in Japan. But everywhere, it kept one promise: to help people wake up from fear, from anger, from sadness. Chapter 8: The Many Schools, One Path. Buddhism is like a great river. It starts in one place, but then it splits into many streams. Each stream flows differently, but all go to the same ocean. These streams are called Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. They have different names, and they use different ways to teach the same message: how to live with peace and kindness. Theravada is the oldest school. It means teaching of the elders. Here, people focus on meditation and following the Buddha's original words. Monks live simply, and many people in countries like Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Myanmar follow this way. They believe that by practicing carefully, they can wake up and find true freedom. Then there is Mahayana, which means great vehicle. It is bigger and more open. It teaches that not just monks but everyone can help each other to become wise and kind. People in China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam follow Mahayana. They use stories about great heroes called bodhisattvas, people who promise to help all beings before they reach peace themselves. The third stream is Vajrayana, or the diamond vehicle. It is powerful and full of symbols. It uses chants, mantras, and special rituals. It is like a lightning bolt, fast and strong. This is the Buddhism of Tibet and Mongolia. It includes the Dalai Lama's teachings and many colorful ceremonies. Though these schools look different, their goal is the same: to help people be free from suffering and find happiness inside. They are like many paths up a mountain, each one different but all leading to the top. Buddhism is for everyone: monks or farmers, children or old people. It can be quiet or full of song, simple or full of colors. But it always invites us to wake up, to be kind, and to live in peace. Chapter 9: Facing Shadows, Decline and Survival. Buddhism began in India, but over time, it slowly faded there. Many people forgot about it. There were wars and fights. Kings changed, and sometimes they did not support Buddhism. Temples became empty. Monks left, and the teachings were quiet. But even in hard times, Buddhism did not die. Its roots were very deep, like a strong tree that stays alive in the dark. The teachings had traveled far. They grew in other lands, like Sri Lanka, Tibet, China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. In these places, people loved Buddhism and kept it alive. Sometimes, Buddhism faced danger. Wars and politics tried to stop it. Some rulers wanted other religions to be stronger. But the monks and followers stayed strong. They kept teaching kindness, peace, and truth. Buddhism changed too. It learned new languages and ideas. It opened new temples, schools, and communities. It helped people through hard times by giving hope and peace. Even when the light seemed dim, Buddhism's story was not over. It survived because it is not just a religion, it is a way of life and a way to see the world. Its quiet power grew again and again. This chapter is about courage, the courage to keep faith when the world changes. It is about roots that stay deep underground, holding the tree safe during the storm. Buddhism's journey is like this, sometimes shadowed, but always ready to bloom again. Chapter 10: Buddhism in the Modern World. Buddhism is very old, more than 2,500 years old. But it is not just a story from the past. Today, Buddhism lives in a new way. People everywhere, in big cities and small towns, are finding its peace and calm. You can hear Buddhist teachings in podcasts. You can learn meditation on your phone with apps. People share Buddhist wisdom on Instagram and YouTube. It travels fast, reaching millions in seconds. Scientists study Buddhism too. They look at mindfulness, paying full attention to the moment. This helps people with stress, pain, and sadness. Hospitals use mindfulness to help patients feel better. People from many places come to Buddhism. In the East, it is part of culture and daily life. In the West, people from all jobs and ages learn its lessons. Some are young, some are old. Some are busy with work, some are students. All want to find peace in a noisy, fast world. Buddhism teaches kindness, calm, and understanding. It helps people be happy without wanting more things. It shows a way to live gently with others and with nature. This is the story of how old ideas become new again. How a quiet voice speaks loudly in today's busy world. The path is yours. You don't need to wear special robes. You don't need to shave your head. You don't need to be a monk or live in the forest. Buddha never asked for that. He simply said, "Wake up." Long ago, one man sat under a tree. He closed his eyes. He opened his heart. He looked at the world and asked, "Why do people suffer?" And when he found the answer, he didn't keep it for himself. He shared it with everyone, rich or poor, king or farmer, man or woman. Today, that same path is still open. The path of peace, of wisdom, of compassion. You can begin walking it right now, in your home, at your school, in your job, or just in your heart. You don't need to change who you are. You only need to slow down, breathe, and start noticing yourself, others, the world. This is the gift of Buddhism. Not a religion with walls, but a light that can shine in anyone, anywhere. So now, we ask you, will you carry this light forward? Will you take one small step toward kindness? Will you begin your own journey to wake up? The path is not far. The path is not outside you. The path is you. Thank you for watching this story, From a Prince Under a Tree, to the quiet moments in your own life. The journey continues, and now, it's yours to walk. Please like, subscribe, and share if this touched your heart. Leave a comment. What part of this story stayed with you most?